It has probably been years since I have done this type of video, so I thought it was about time that I do a little update on my life, a little bit about me if you're new here, I guess like a get to know me video. So got my big old coffee. It's gonna be a lot in this one video because I don't really know how to not overshare things in my life, so we're gonna start from the beginning and then just go up to where I'm at now in life. So let's get started. To start, I grew up in Northern California. I grew up in the Bay Area. So if you're from there, I was about 45 minutes east of San Francisco. So I was in a town called Livermore. I was born there and we lived there up until I was graduating high school, and then my parents bought a second house in Nevada in the Lake Tahoe area. So a lot of you that follow me only really know that part of my life because that's when I started doing social media, was when my parents moved to Lake Tahoe and then when I went to Clemson in South Carolina. As many of you and myself fell in love with Lake Tahoe, fell in love with my parents' house there, fell in love with the mountain life. For me, the mountain life is the best life. I absolutely love the mountains. I love the outdoors. I love to snowboard. I love to ski. I love to hike. I love everything that has to do with outdoors. So I consider Lake Tahoe in Nevada, where my parents still live, my happy place, even though I'm not living there now. A lot of people thought I was insane for going to college across the country, but I absolutely fell in love with Clemson and I would not change that decision for the world. I met all my best friends there. All of them are going to be bridesmaids in my wedding, which is so exciting. South Carolina truly is another great state, and I have nothing but great things to say about South Carolina. I just went back there for a little George Strait, Cody Johnson concert, and I still just love the campus so much. I love the people. It's just the best place in the world. So if you're looking for a school to go to or apply to that's in South Carolina, I would highly recommend Clemson. But to rewind a little bit, when I was in California, we switched back and forth from our California house to our Lake Tahoe house. Eventually, my parents were like, we don't want to be in California anymore. We're selling our house. And then Lake Tahoe became their main house, and that is where I lived when I was going from college to home. I started really getting into social media in college, and then I started getting into fitness and health, and that's where my life kind of just took off in the fitness realm of things. When I graduated from Clemson, I truly thought I was either going to stay in Nevada and find an apartment there, or I was going to go travel and try new places. So because, if you didn't know already, it's extremely expensive to live in California and Nevada, so I did not have a job. I kind of was like flip-flopping from like little jobs here and there. I was doing social media, I was doing brand deals, all that good stuff, but I was very much all over the place and did not know what I was doing. So I decided that the first place I wanted to try out was Florida. I ended up landing in St. Pete, Tampa area. I got a job there working at a hat bar, so like a cowboy hat bar, where we were like branding and like shaping, all that fun stuff. It was a very fun job. The sweetest girls there I met, but not a job that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So it was very much just a filler until I kind of figured out what I wanted to do. I was in St. Pete for about 6 months and realized very fast that Florida was not where I wanted to live, and I think it's very much an amazing place, but for vacations. So for me, it just didn't feel like home. Felt very much like a vacation spot. So I was like, this is not for me. Called my parents. I'm like, hey, I'm moving back home. So came back to Nevada. A lot of you were on that whole journey with me. So I was in Nevada for a few more months. I got a sales job working at home. And then I was like, I gotta move out of my house at some point, and I want to try a new state. I really want to figure out if Nevada is where I'm supposed to be or if I'm supposed to be in another place. So oddly enough, I had a lot of family that ended up moving to Tennessee. A lot of them are in the Nolensville and Brentwood area. And I obviously met a lot of friends that lived in Nashville. So I was like, maybe I should try Nashville. Maybe I would like Tennessee. I don't know. So I told my parents, I'm gonna go try Tennessee and see if I like it. So I started apartment shopping, but I didn't really know where to start with that. There's so many little places in Nashville, if you're from there, that you can go to and that are great little spots for like when you're young and having your first job and wanting to meet people, meet friends. But one morning, woke up to a DM from Tyler, who is now my fiance. I'm not wearing my ring, but we just got engaged about 3 weeks ago. It was a DM from him. He lived in Nashville at the time, and he asked for my number and then flew me out to a Cody Johnson concert that next weekend. I know, crazy, when I tell people that story, they're like, are you psycho? What if he was like a murderer or like a psychopath? We FaceTimed every day up to that point, so I promise you, I think I had a good idea that he wasn't gonna be that. But ended up flying out there, and I was like, maybe this is my sign that like I need to be out here. I didn't really know for sure yet. I hadn't chosen an apartment yet. Also, another main reason I ended up flying out there and wanting to meet him, because I was like, if I end up in Tennessee, like it'd be nice to also like know someone or maybe be talking to someone going there. So that same weekend, he asked me to be his girlfriend. It was like genuinely the best weekend of my life. One of those moments where it was like, okay, like I know this is my person. So I know that sounds so cheesy and so corny, but pretty much the first weekend we're like, we're getting married, like this is it. And it really is. So going back home after that weekend, told my parents, hey, I have a boyfriend. They were like, what the hell? Like that is not normal. I'm totally aware it's not normal to start dating that fast, but that's just how it happened for us, and ended up working out. So I ended up moving to Nashville 3 months after that. Right when I moved to Nashville, I moved into personal training. I launched my own app. I started working with the best company ever, which I'm still doing to this day. Quite literally my dream job, my dream business. I get to work with girls around the world. It's truly just a blessing. I don't wake up every day so grateful for what I get to do. It also allows me to work from home. It allows me to travel. I love to travel. I love to see my family. I'm also very much a homebody, so I like being at home in sweats and sweatshirts and being able to work from home. With all that said, I love Tennessee. I get questions a lot on if I like Tennessee or if I love Nevada more, and I never know how to answer that question because I love both of them so much. But with the phase of life that I'm in, I am getting married and I want to start a family. I want to be a mom. I want to raise my kids in a place where it's very much a safe place and an affordable place. Unfortunately, Lake Tahoe, Nevada area is very hard to raise a family there because they don't really have a lot. It's really just like the mountains and not a lot of schools, and it's just not a place to raise a family. But with that said, still my favorite place on the entire planet, and I'm sure one day me and Tyler will end up having a house there, if not moving there when our kids are maybe a little bit older. I consider Lake Tahoe my home forever and always, but I do love Tennessee, and this is also my home. So something I struggle with is the unknown of the future and not really knowing where I'm gonna live or where I want to be sometimes, or when we're gonna have kids, or if I'm ready to be a mom or anything like that. So I try really hard to not like focus on that. I've definitely had my moments where I'm like, I'm freaking out. Like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. Me and Tyler just bought our first home too, so we've lived here for a couple months now. It also feels so surreal. Like sometimes I wake up and I'm like, holy crap, like I really own a house. Like where did time go? Like it's truly just like the weirdest feeling in the world. I still feel like I'm 15. Even though I'm turning 24 in like 2 months. Right now is also like a very weird time because all of my best friends are living in literally 4 different states. So Haley's in Texas, Lauren is in South Carolina, Belle is in New York, and Megan's in Boston. So like those are my main best friends who I all met in college, by the way. So again, very grateful for Clemson, but very hard being away from your friends that you're like wanting to be with every single day. So that's something I'm also like, oh, this like sucks. But you just have to understand that everyone's growing, everyone's working their jobs, everyone's trying to figure out their life too. So it's kind of like fun to catch each other up on like, hey, this is happening this month, or like, hey, this big thing just happened. Miss them dearly, but you guys will see a lot more of them, I think, coming up just with my bachelorette and wedding planning and little girls trips we have planned. Leading up to now, obviously I said we have our house, we're engaged, we're all in like this weird stage of life where there are a lot of changes and a lot of huge steps happening. Really not like in the wedding planning mindset yet. Everyone's like, have you looked at venues? Have you booked venues? Do you know where you want to be? And I'm like, I do, but I also don't want to stress everyone out because I'm in the midst of trying to convince Tyler that I want to have our wedding in Lake Tahoe. I grew up going to Lake Tahoe even when we were in California. That was like our second home. It's where we always would spend our summers. And I always remember as a girl saying, I'm gonna have my wedding here. Like this is where I'm gonna get married. This is where I want to have the most special day. And now that we're in Tennessee, obviously Lake Tahoe is very far. It's like ends up being about a 7-hour flying day with your layover and everything. Not that bad of a flight. It's really not terrible. But obviously if we ended up doing that as a destination wedding, we would lose a lot of guests, which I totally understand. Like not everyone's gonna pay for a flight or pay for the hotel or whatever, so would end up being a little bit smaller of a wedding. But a lot of our family friends, or a lot of my family friends, are still in California, so all of those special people would be there. But Tyler's family lives in North Carolina, my family's possibly moving here, so just a whole bunch of things going on. We would love to have our wedding in Lake Tahoe, and that's something I'm just having to like really plan out, really figure out. I want to have Tyler's sister plan our entire wedding because she is like the best at that. Like truly, she does plan like event planning for her job, literally. So I want to talk with her a little bit about it. Little steps like that are happening of just like kind of figuring out where we want to do it and like how many people and all that stuff. Another thing I get asked quite a bit is everyone when they first meet me think that I'm like super introverted or super quiet, super innocent, like don't really do a lot. And I'm like, what? do I give that vibe? I just like, it makes me laugh every time I hear that. But I do love to host. I do love to make fun drinks for everyone. I love to cook. I love to bake. Anything really outdoors. I love four-wheeling. I love fishing. I love hunting. A lot of people don't know those things about me, and I kind of get put in this bubble of like only fitness, only health, only eating clean, which is a huge part of my life, and it's literally what I also do for my work. But I also have this other side to me where I really enjoy, like, I don't even know how, like, redneck things. Is that like a weird thing? I don't know if that's how I should put it. I really just love anything outdoors. I love parties. I'm going out once in a while. I love food. I'm such a sweet treat foodie girl. I love when I have my few cheat days, and I love vacations with family and friends. There's so much more, I think, to people who are in the fitness industry, and we kind of get put in this like boring bubble, if you say, that like all we do is go to the gym and eat. And so yes, that is a huge part, but I also have a lot of other things to my personality and to things that I love to do. So I feel like that's always a misconception when people meet me, is like I just look like I'm gonna be boring. So like, I promise you I'm not boring. I feel like I should also talk a little bit about my faith and how I came to find the church. And I didn't grow up in a church. I was baptized when I was little, but we didn't go to church growing up. I think the only days we would go were if like family friends invited us to, or like a little bit when we were kids. But we just didn't grow up in the church. We were always playing sports and had golf tournaments, baseball tournaments, soccer tournaments, everything under the sun when it came to sports. That was like me and my brother's life. So another thing I forgot to mention, if you didn't know already, I have a twin brother. His name is Austin, and he's still living in Nevada right now, going through Firefighter Academy stuff. So once he finishes that for the summer, he's gonna move out here as well with my parents. So the whole family will be out here eventually, hoping, if me and Tyler stay here, which I'm pretty sure we are. Anyways, so when I went to college, I still hadn't really been to church, but in the South, obviously it's the Bible Belt, everyone goes to church. I was very new. I didn't really know what people were talking about. I didn't understand it for the life of me because I just wasn't raised in it. I never was taught anything in that. So I ended up having a little bit of a testimony happen in my freshman, sophomore year of college, where is a little bit personal, which I don't really want to share on here. But when that phase of my life happened, I was like, I have to figure something out. Like, I have to grasp to something. And that's when me and Haley, my best friend, who I know a lot of you guys see in my past videos, or even now sometimes, we ended up going to church together, and we started going every Sunday. We started doing little Bible studies together. We started really trying to dive into everything and teach ourselves, and that changed my life forever. I don't really know where I'd be in life without my faith, without God's hand, without God's grace. Like, I really don't know where I would be. That's another huge part of my life that I do try to share a lot on my social media, because I would consider myself still learning every single day, like every other person that is a Christian or whatever. So last little thing that I feel like I have shared a little bit about as well, but it's another big part of my journey, just going into the fitness and health world. I did have major eating disorders. I had a major binge drinking issue in college especially, but it started my freshman year when I knew nothing about nutrition. I knew nothing about the health and fitness world. I really just knew zero. Freshman year of college, as many of you know, is a lot of going out and drinking, eating a bunch of crap food, and just trying to figure out where you stand in your college group of friends. And so I found myself drinking a lot. I found myself binging a lot. I found myself restricting a lot because I just didn't know what the heck I was doing. And then that's when COVID hit. So 2020, 2021 was like my freshman year of college. Worst year ever. We were all stuck inside for a brief moment too. So I started really looking at my body like, I hate the way I look. I am not confident. I just felt disgusting. It ended up gaining about 17, 18 pounds in that year. And I remember coming home to my parents and I was like, yeah, I feel disgusting. I don't know what I'm doing. I have to figure this out. So I dove legitimately face first into YouTube videos and calorie tracking, macro tracking, watching other influencers to teach myself how this all works and what I can do to get myself to where I wanted to be. I ended up losing, I think, almost 20 something pounds in a very unhealthy way. Looking back now, I understand how little I was eating. Yes, I looked in the mirror and I was like, dude, I got an 8-pack. I look amazing. But I also had no body fat, I had no butt, and I had no energy. So I stopped going out with friends, I stopped drinking, I stopped eating out. My social life completely just like took a brief pause. And looking back now, I do regret that, but I also had to go through that in order to get to a healthier state of my life where I can maintain the body that I wanted and the mental state that I wanted to have too. So I then really started focusing on what are healthy fats, what are healthy carbs. I really just dove right into that as well. And so Yes, I gained a little bit of weight back and I had fluctuations here and there, just trying to figure out what works for my body and what doesn't. Definitely about 3 years of my life, like really trial and error, like ups and downs, mistakes, wins, a lot of in-betweens. When I talk about eating disorders or balance with food and loving your life while also focusing on being the healthiest version of yourself, I'm not joking when I say that, and I really do take it to heart when I say like you can have both. You can enjoy your life and go out with friends and have a drink and enjoy food and enjoy desserts while also having a healthier lifestyle where you have balance and moderation and portion control. And how to balance those two sides of your life is when your life gets so much better. That's something I will continue always to preach on here and try to teach you guys. So I feel like those are the main points to a get to know me video in case you didn't know those things already. I'm sure there's going to be things after this video where I'm like, darn, I wish I said that, but those are basically me in a nutshell. So if you guys have any other questions, I guess like leave a comment and I can just respond to your comment as well, or DM me on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. But I love you guys, and let me know if you liked this video. Okay, one more thing. I feel like I didn't talk about my family enough, but these people mean more than anything in the world to me, and they are literally my why. So I thought I would share a few more clips with you guys of how much I love my family.